Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana. I'm co-founder of Sealeo, where we keep medicines cold and stable with seaweed. Today, 50% of vaccines are wasted globally. Just let it sink in. Imagine all the resources going into research, development, and distribution of those medicines, only for a half of them to end up in waste. That translates into around $15 billion in losses and 650 million tons of CO2 emissions. Even more importantly, such wastage claims lives of 3 million children annually. So what's the reason? It's mainly because of inadequate packaging that fails to protect medicines against temperature fluctuations during the final step in delivery, called the last mile. The archaic cooling boxes are made out of polystyrene packed with ice packs, which is both unreliable but also environmentally dangerous. The industry is desperately searching for sustainable, affordable alternatives designed for the very unique challenges of last-mile delivery. And that's where Sealeo comes in, offering a novel packaging material that can keep medicines cold passively, effectively, and affordably. Our solution stands on 3 pillars. Being seaweed-based, it's a single-use packaging that can be safely disposed of and will decompose in up to 6 weeks after disposal. That's seaweed. It reduces distribution costs by over 38% by optimizing packaging volume. The insulative layer of our material is 98% air, which is great for both thermal performance, but also for reducing the weight. And finally, it is adaptable, which means that it can be molded to the exact shape and size of the medicines being transported. So right now, the medicines are just thrown into the container, creating a huge amount of dead space, which lets warm air in and makes it more difficult to keep medicines stable. What we do is encapsulate vials directly into the coolant, which allows us to unlock the full cooling power of our material. When combined, our materials perform 2.5 times longer, maintaining the safe temperature ranges than current styrofoam and gel packs configurations. Our unique IP lies in our material formulation and multi-layered design, and we're currently in the process of patenting it. Competing solutions with similar performance come with premium prices. More affordable or environmentally friendly options simply do not perform. And lastly, none of them are adaptable for last mile. We're positioned in a $28 billion pharmaceutical cold chain packaging market driven by biologic-based medicines, such as vaccine, insulin, injectable antibiotics, and others. We target $1.5 billion segment known as smaller parcel containers, because this is where the gap of innovation is. And we're entering the market targeting high-value, low-volume shipments, frequently found in biotech, medtech, and clinical trials. We are a team of 2 innovation design engineers who also grew up in developing regions, Ukraine and Brazil. Witnessing social and environmental inadequacies firsthand drove us to create impactful technology. We're supported by 2 advisory board members specializing in material science and cold chain logistics. Since our inception earlier last year, we won multiple grants and awards, secured over $100,000 in non-dilutive funding, and we're currently preparing for 3 trials. One with a medtech firm who would be even willing to pay premium as long as we cut their distribution costs, with a logistic firm who wants to switch to sustainable packaging without compromising on performance, and with a vaccine research group who is just unsatisfied with their packaging size. We are currently raising $500,000 to scale our manufacturing, prepare for larger scale pilot transition, and expand our team. I'm just going to leave you with this thought. Just at this pilot stage, 1,000 packs of Sealeo will prevent 50,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions and save 600,000 vaccine doses. We're always looking to connect. So whether you know a new industry where we could make an impact or represent a different stage of the value chain, please do find us today. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Diana, well done, and we welcome your Sealeo team member to the stage for the Q&A. Let's kick off with one about the fact that your solution doesn't yet exist. So what are your customers currently doing to solve the problem?
So the most frequent trend in the market is pushing for reusable containers, which are huge, bulky, heavy, polyurethane-based boxes. And they're completely impractical. The industry hates them. But on top of it, they would be sustainable if they were used 50 times, like intended. But in reality, they only end up being used 10 times, and then they're still destined to end up in landfill.
Okay. Moving on to a question from the audience. Does having a produce that degrades within weeks cause logistical issues between production and use?
I'll take that one. Yes, it's definitely something we have to factor in with distribution, but our materials are designed in a way where from manufacturing to distribution, they only start degrading really once they've been put in a certain environment. So they're really safe within the temperature range that they operate in.
Okay, moving on to the next question from the audience. Are you planning to manufacture in-house or to license?
So we are starting with manufacturing in-house for the trials and the pilot stage. As soon as we move into larger pilots, which is planned for next year, we will need to outsource the manufacturing. And we do eventually plan to license our material, but that's kind of in a 2-3 years timeline. First, we need to gain credibility in the space, and then we can license it out to other companies.
Okay, right. Moving on. Where do you get the seaweed from?
Well, currently, since we're mainly lab-based, we do supply it from larger pharmaceutical manufacturers and suppliers, but we're currently working with more local farming and harvesting right here in the UK and looking to scale that as well.
Okay. How scalable, talking of which, is your solution? Are there any applications beyond pharma?
Absolutely. Pharma is what we've targeted right now due to the real lack of innovation in the space for decades. But we've received tons of interest from industries such as a built environment from an installation point of view, but also a thermal energy point of view, which is what our material does. But also other, even EVs and food packaging as well.
Okay. Moving on, how easily can your product be manufactured with existing infrastructure?
Still in development, but obviously one of our biggest competitors is polystyrene. And so we're working closely to make sure that we do operate within similar bounds to their manufacturing processes. There will obviously most likely be some adaptation that those factories would have to go through, but we're trying to make it as minimal as possible.
Okay. Time for at least one more. Why does the packaging have to be single use?
Well, industry loves it. So as I mentioned before, the sustainable trend is pushing for reusable boxes, but it isn't practical. So there is this whole fascinating process called reverse logistics, where you need to ship your box, but then you need to ship it back. And sometimes for a box kind of this size, which is not big, it can cost around $300 to ship it back, empty, no medicines inside. So it incurs a huge cost on the customers. So everyone absolutely loves to just send packages off and have no worries, but obviously it's just unsustainable.
Understood. Okay, I think we do have time for one more. How energy intensive is production?
It's actually extremely low. The temperatures we use are minimal. One of the things we are trying to minimize is water usage. But outside of that, it's a very simple process to go from raw material to our 2 separate materials.
Okay, that brings us almost to time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.